Part 3 of the F123 My Team Career Mode. We've actually made it past 2 parts of a series for once on an F1 game. It's actually incredible from me. You should all be grateful of how committed and dedicated I am. So, I recorded this footage on Wednesday evening, and it is now Thursday evening that I'm editing this because I did not have time or effort to edit this last night. So I'm doing it the next night. Not played F1 today, however, I feel like if I have time I might play it tomorrow. If not, it'll be I'll probably record a couple episodes on Saturday, which I think will be grand. We'll also have a breaking point video up tomorrow, even if I don't play it, and then we should have one up at the weekend as well, because I did play like last Sunday Breaking Point, the first chapter, never uploaded it, and I've not played any of Breaking Point yet, so it's all new to me, and I've not watched it either, so it's actually going to be a surprise as to what happens. So we have lowered down the game volume sound, other than obviously for the introduction to the race for this week, just to, you know, see how it is compared to the volume of my voice, which I found is quite loud. But I'm not really going to change it. It's just, you know, turn your device down kind of thing. It's not my problem at the end of the day, it's yours. So, yeah. We're heading into the Miami GP, looking pretty good in the standings. 7th in Bahrain and 7th in Azerbaijan. And we're looking pretty good so far. Max Verstappen has won both races so far with the fastest lap. So far he's having the perfect season. So yeah, I mean, the aim is for everyone to stop him, and for us it's just a chance to get up the grid, and we're going to stick to 88 AI this weekend. I've not raced Miami yet on this game. I've not done a single race on Miami, just a couple of time trial laps, and it's going to be wet for the whole of qualifying, which is just a spanner in the works, not only because it's wet for the first time at Miami, but because it's wet for the first time on this game, and just look at how torrential that is. And you know what? Look how torrential it is when we get onto our first lap. Look, I've literally gone off not being able to brake, and I've span it. I've done a 360 ready to come onto my lap. I can't even keep the car in a straight line as we head on to our first lap in Q1. It's actually ridiculous how bad this weather is. We're braking really early and still getting nowhere near any apexes. It's really difficult to put the throttle down. The car's all over the place. It feels like F122 handling in the wet, and that's not a good thing. I do find, though, that interconditions aren't as bad as you'll see later. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, so far we've taken this little section of the track quite nicely. We've got a nice little bit of rotation there from, you know, thanks to the new controller settings where you can instantly flick your stick and actually get some rotation on the wheel. That was actually quite good, quite nice. So we'll take that. That was okay. The start of the lap was poor, but we've improved. And now we're heading into the middle sector. We're going to be heading in towards this little section of the track. Right. Yeah, is this actually a sector? No, because this sector ends as you come out of here. Again, we go very, very deep there. No rotation on the car. And, funnily enough, this weekend I did not put on enough wings on my setup. However, the title is saying GP2 engine. It's not a GP2 engine, it's a skill issue because I put way too much wing on. Not even just because it was wet, but because this is what the game recommended me on the increased top speed. I shouldn't have done this. This cost me so much in the race, you know. I feel like I could have been competitive in the race, to be fair, but, you know, straight line speed was what was holding me back. I'm not going to ruin anything, though. No more's being said about the race. We're just going to say it as it comes. Again, we go extremely deep at that corner. Absolutely sabotaging my own lap time. And we come across the line to set a 1:45.9, which is very poor. However, we've got a 5/10 improvement coming to the final corner. A purple middle sector. We actually hit an apex on our lap time for once. Get a little squirrely on the exit, but it's still going to be almost a 9/10 improvement. We actually lose a little bit of time there. But by the time we get to the line, it is an 8/10 improvement, which means, however, we're only 14th. We were only 3 tenths away from being knocked out. Poor Chair gets through as well in P16, half a tenth away from being knocked out. So, scraping through by the skin of our teeth. And as we head into Q2 for our first lap now, we've got a purple first sector. Absolutely glorious. We did cut that corner there, but the game didn't say we did, so we'll take it. And we're currently 1.2 seconds up on our previous lap time. We've not had the best middle sector. I said this was my first lap. This is not my first lap of the session. It literally says lap 2. I'm just an idiot. Ignore me. But here we are. We've got a 1.3 second improvement. 1.333 it was there for a second. Are we going to hit this apex? No, we are not. We're going to lose ourselves a little bit of time. If we're able to get traction down a little bit better compared to our previous lap, it's going to end up being a 1.4.5 second improvement. We set a 1:42.3 and it ends up getting us P6. Porsche gets knocked out in 15th. We go 1.3 seconds quicker than Porsche. But Max Verstappen is knocked out in P14 after not getting a lap on Inters, which was very poor from Verstappen. Very, very poor indeed. From the two-time world champion, I believe he is in this game now. Soon to probably be free on this game and in real life, to be fair, but, you know. And now we're heading out into Q3 for our first lap of the session. We take that quite nicely there. I mean, intermediate conditions felt a lot nicer than the wet conditions, obviously. Still not ideal, still not perfect, but pretty good. Alonso there has set a 1:41.8. Again, I feel like there's maybe a bit of time there. We go over the curb there. Normally that spits you out, but we went on the angle enough where we just completely rode it. That is actually quite nicely taken from me as well. Again, getting on the curb, maybe a bit of time on exit there. But again, a pretty solid first sector so far. There's not really, you know, unless I was setting a very, very, very good lap time, is there just an easy way to gain time. So let's see if there's any flaws coming into the proper, you know, Mickey Mouse section of the Miami circuit. Ah, there we go. We go deep there. That's a couple temps. Again, that puts us off for this bit. So that's even more time. We get really bad traction there. It's even more time. We just completely cut that corner and just disregard the whole rules of the circuit. Because why not? Somehow we still end up setting a purple middle sector. Probably only because we cut the bloody corner. But it's fine. No one actually cares. Oh, here we come. Down towards the final corner. This straight, by the way, is a killer. It's so long and tedious and boring. I can't wait till Vegas, guys. Last race of the season in Las Vegas. The straight line. I'm literally going to run 0-0 wings for that race. You think I'm joking? I'm not. I'm literally going to run 0-0 wings for that race in Monza. Those are the two. But here we are, up to the line. We set a 1:41 whatever. It didn't actually show, but with only 12 seconds to get to the line. We're currently P6. We need to get up to the lap up to the line. The track has improved significantly, and I feel like there could be a chance of pole position here. But we're not going to do it. Time's going to run out, and we're going to end up getting relegated all the way down to P9 from the lofty heights of, I think we ended up getting like top 3 with our first lap with a lot of time to improve, and the track ramped up as well. So pole position was on the cards there on 88 AI in the wet. You know, I'm a wet weather specialist, but there we go. We end up being 1.2 seconds off Carlos Sainz, who claims pole position for the Miami GP.
Welcome to the Magic City. We're here at the Miami International Autodrome, the home of the Hard Rock Stadium, a multi-purpose sports and entertainment hub which has hosted Super Bowls, Baseball World Series, numerous rock concerts, and of course, as of 2022, Formula One. Sitting at the southeastern coast of Florida, the Miami International Autodrome has 19 corners and 3.36 miles of racing. It's a circuit designed to encourage close racing while meeting the highest safety standards. Either way, I'm sure it's one that will please the fans. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. It's Carlos Sainz in pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Bottas, Iceman, Ocon, Gasly, Tsunoda, Albon, Verstappen, Théo Pourchaire, Norris, Hülkenberg, Stroll, Joe, Magnussen, De Vries, Oscar Piastri, and Logan Sargent. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And now I want to talk to you about Carlos.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum.
So then, guys, Lando Norris, who ends up qualifying P5, ends up with a 10-place grid drop, which is very disappointing for Lando. But it is what it is. His loss is our gain, and we're going to be starting P8 for the Miami GP. So yeah, let's go. into the formation lap, and let's get this race started. This is going to be very loud.
We're not seeing any technical issues coming off the practice starts. Watch the
Yes, boys, listen to that purr. And we kind of bottled the grid start because I just broke too much. So we only get a 1.2 meters. We are miles away from our grid slot here for the Miami G. Yeah, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not even going to finish off that one. I'm just not going to say it. For the Miami GP. We have got a lot of cars around us on mediums, especially the cars ahead. I think the Ferraris, Alonso, all on the medium compound of tyre. So let's see what happens. Let's get into the Grand Prix. 5 red lights for the Miami GP, and it is lights out, and away we go. We get a very solid start again. We go around the outside of Fernando Alonso. Can we make a move on the inside of Valtteri Bottas here? We're very, very cautious into turn 1, which is very unlike me. Cutting the corner to even be cautious. And Bottas has overtaken Charles Leclerc. Valtteri Bottas is in P5 here. This is an incredible start from Valtteri Bottas. I should be more hyped about this. Bottas in an Alfa Romeo in P5. That is I'm having an absolute stink of a first lap. Look at this. This is what you call driving. It's like I got one hand. I think someone with one hand would drive better than me on this track. Especially in this first lap. I've bottled that. I've lost a second through that sector. Or if I'd have kept it neat and tidy, there's maybe a chance I can get myself up into P6, P5. Get ahead of Bottas and Leclerc maybe, but no. Again, my tradition of having very bad first laps continues as Fernando Alonso sends it down the inside. Chill out, Fernando, lad. It's the first lap. You've got to quickly out of me anyway, son. You're going to get past me at some point. You know, but here we go. Look at this. My literal forte is that middle sector. Everyone loves that middle sector compared to AI because you don't get a penalty for cutting it on regular corner cutting. Not even on strict. You still gain loads of time. So, yeah. And, right, I don't know why. But yeah, we've got some sped up footage here. Literally just showing that once Leclerc got past Bottas and whilst Ocon and Alonso were fighting, me and Bottas, I was just happily sitting behind Bottas. I had no straight line speed. So I was just closing up to him in the corners and then like getting dropped on the straight, but still managing to stay with him thanks to DRS. It's such I did so bad. I don't know why. In my head, I put 20-something, 27, 25 wings on and thought that would be a good idea. It should be like 15, 12 for this track. I put way too much wing on, but it's what the game suggested me. I'm never going to listen to the game again. I'm going to go more with my own instinct in the future. But there we make a lovely move around the outside of Valtteri Bottas and we set him up on that straight. Is Bottas going to come back at us here? It looks like he's going to try to. We're going to cut him off a little bit, get back to the racing line. We're going to take that quite nicely. And we're going to take that quite nicely. You know what? This is better from me. Bit of better driving here from me. This is what we love to see, boys. This is what we all pay to see. However, we have no straight line speed and Bottas just overtook us on that straight again. But we close back up through the Mickey Mouse section. And here we come on Valtteri Bottas again. However, we're going to keep training behind him. We're going to stay behind him for now. We're just going to stick behind him. Let him run off a little bit. Let him do his own thing. And we are just going to chill. So Bottas, consider yourself lucky, sunshine, that we've not made a move on you there. But we're going to box in this lap. We've now got Max Verstappen behind us. We do not want to get caught up fighting that Red Bull who's finally made his way through up into P8 ahead of Alonso, who he's also trained along with him. So I'm going to box now, try and get a nice undercut. I've got really bad tyre wear. I'm going to try and get an undercut on Bottas, try and get an undercut on Verstappen, try and get an undercut on Alonso. I'm going to box in now for a set of medium compound tyres. That was a brilliant entrance, by the way, but I was genuinely thinking hards at this point. But then I was like, I'm just going to go mediums and I'll just deal with the tyre wear at the end. And I'm very, very glad that I did, because what happens later is absolutely crazy. But we get a very nice 2.4 second stop. Faster than the team said it would be, because they said it would have to be guaranteed 2.5. Well, we beat it by a tenth. That tenth could be crucial, you never know. And out we come, dead last, about 6 seconds behind everyone else. But that is not an issue for me, I'm not too bothered. I'd actually like to be running around at the back with an undercut, thank you very much. But a load of drivers into the pits now, and we have definitely undercut Max Verstappen there, as you can see. We are, as you're about to see, we're about 2 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen as he comes out the pits. Almost, I think it's like 1.5. Yeah, 1.5 seconds ahead of Verstappen as he comes out the pits. But Verstappen's on fresh tyres in a Red Bull, and it's not going to be long before he's going to be behind us. So we need to get a move on here. We need to try to overtake De Vries and Sargent. These two are just awfully slow. We're going to just push De Vries through that section, overtake him before the DRS line, and then use the DRS we get after pushing De Vries through to overtake Logan Sargent and get ourselves into P13 whilst other drivers are once again in the box. Hopefully Sargent makes this quite an easy move for me. Yes, he does. He just goes and sits behind me. He knows it's not worth fighting. You get a nice little clip on the apex there. Nice little exit. And we're gone. However, we are now going to have Max Verstappen behind us, as you can see. Because those two pit. Verstappen's now 1.8 seconds behind. So, here we are. I think we're on the exact same lap. Max Verstappen was 1.6 seconds behind us at the start of this lap, by the way. Yeah, that gap's down to 1 second already within a few corners, and that gap is just going to keep shrinking. And I didn't even take this first sector, especially this section, too bad. Verstappen's closing 8 times on us. It's ridiculous. That Red Bull is a cheat code. The only way you can compete with it is if it's in traffic. This is not traffic. This is literally just me versus him. There's 5 seconds to the cars ahead, 5 seconds to the cars behind. There's nothing I can do. 5 seconds behind Bottas and Ocon. We're going to see where Fernando Alonso filters out into this. But we let Verstappen pass, and he locks up. So, basically, he's just wasting both of our time now, because he's just done that. So, that's very helpful, and I think we end up getting out of a second of him, away from him here, and keeping him out of DRS for a little bit. So, there you go. Not for long. He's 2 tenths behind us again. We had to drain our battery just to make sure he stayed behind us and didn't cost us too much time, because I'm not just going to let him pass and waste myself time there. So we're going to let him through on this, as now the medium runners are in of Zhou, Magnussen, Hulkenberg is staying out, Hamilton's in the pits now finally, and Alonso sure to be coming out of the pits. Yes, he is. He's going to be behind that Bottas and Ocon fight. So as things stand, now that, you know, Verstappen's ran away from me, I'm guaranteed P7, I'm pretty sure, in this race. But there's a yellow flag, and there is an absolutely huge pilot behind what looks like an AlphaTauri and a McLaren there. What is going on? Well, with a 4-second gap behind us, we're guaranteed P7, but now there's a red flag. Our second red flag of the season and of F123. That is 2 red flags in 3 races, and this was my first race after they fixed the red flag glitch. So, whatever happens now, we're not going to get reverted to where we are right now. This is for actual position. So, we're going to whack on a set of softs. No need to even think about it. Can't change fuel. We're obviously going to go on to softs for the last 4 laps. And here we go. Into turn 1. We're going to look to re-overtake Max Verstappen. It's been a very big struggle for me, actually, to make loads of positions up at the start of races on these tracks. Because I want to make it more realistic and not just send it on like 10 cars. So, we're playing things a bit more realistically. On to lap 17 now. We've survived a lap of the first lap, and Verstappen and Alonso haven't overtaken us yet. But here comes the 2-time world champion Max Verstappen forcing his way around the outside. Well, at least he tries to, but we end up closing that door off quite nicely. It's good defending from me. I'm pretty much a rookie in this sport, but I don't think it will last for long, because here comes Max Verstappen, and he's going to get past us there. We're not going to fight that too hard. We're just going to let him through. Just try to take this sector nicely and stick with him for as long as possible. Because we've now got Alonso and Ocon right behind us, like literally up my arse already. And next lap, we've managed to stay with Verstappen for a full lap, and Alonso's still behind us. So, I mean, I don't know if this is like an issue for Max, because he should have pulled away massively, or if it's, you know, you never know, I might just be the GOAT. But here comes Alonso. We're not going to stop him from going down the inside because he's too fast for us. This is going to cost us DRS on Verstappen, I'm pretty sure. But we're going to fight this now. This is for position. There's a yellow flag. So I knew at this point I've got to just get ahead of Alonso, just in case there's another safety car. As we head into the sector, it's going to be Sergio Perez retiring from the lead of the race. Oh, Checo. Checo retires from the lead of the race. And that's such a shame for him. And here we are. Lap 18, having an absolute stinker of a first sector, and here comes Fernando Alonso on the inside. We're just going to kind of let him through there, because now we've got DRS. We've got to make sure Ocon doesn't get past us, though. Let's see which way I go, let's see which way Ocon goes, and let's just, you know, tango a little bit here with Fernando Alonso. Ocon's forcing his way on the inside, got more straight line speed. we're able to cover him off, get to the outside of Fernando Alonso as we come into the Mickey Mouse section. He goes a bit deep and stops us from overtaking him. We've got to stay ahead of Ocon, so we're going to squeeze Ocon out on the outside, because I know we're going to get right behind Alonso after this sector and maybe be able to make a re-overtake here. So let's see if we can. We get a pretty good exit. We're right behind Fernando. It's literally a 2/10 gap, and we've almost gained a second. And Albon's behind us now. Albon has overtaken Ocon, thanks to squeezing him out. And here we come on Fernando Alonso, down the inside of the two-time experienced world champion. And we're going to make it the late move. Fernando Alonso tries to brake late with his superior car, but we're able to just squeeze him out with the inside line. And we're up into P6, our best result of the season so far. Are we going to be able to hold on to it? I don't know, because here we are on this next lap. We're on this straight again. We're getting mugged on this straight again by Fernando Alonso with DRS, slipstream, superior straight line speed, and us with our GP2 engine and no wings. And here comes Fernando Alonso. We've got to just kind of send it to stop Albon from sailing around our outside as well. We squeeze out Alexander Albon. If we can get a good exit here, maybe we can get back ahead of Alonso. But we've kind of bottled it through this section now. We've actually gone really wide there. Albon almost has another look off our inside. We've managed to recover it a little bit, but we've gone wide there. That is a crucial corner if you want a good exit to re-overtake, and we've absolutely fluffed our lines. That's going to stop us from re-overtaking Fernando Alonso, because as we come to the next lap, we've still got DRS on him, and we've got Albon 5/10 behind in that rocket ship of a Williams with more ERS, more slipstream. We're going to be able to squeeze him out, though. He's not going to quite make the move. We have to send it into that corner to stop him making a send on us. And as we come up to the line, it's going to be 2/10, rapidly closing 1/10. Is it going to be under a 10th up to the line with Alexander Albon? But we end up taking our third P7 of the season. P7 is just my thing right now. It's literally just, you know, the top 3 teams. One of them retires and Alonso gets ahead of me. That is literally the occurrence of the season. I literally have Alonso and then 5 of the big 6, because one of them will have issues, ahead of me every single race. It's getting a bit silly now. So yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with that. By the end of the day, it's only a 1 position net gain. However, we did end up with Verstappen and Alonso behind us at the start of the race, so they were never going to stay behind us for long. So the fact we've still made a position is actually a good thing. I think we ended up overtaking Bottas and stuff like that. So we'll take it in the end. Actually a pretty solid race result from me. I ran a pretty solid race, and even with the really buggered up wings, the wrong setup, we still managed to make the most of it and get P7. Albon with a pretty good drive from P12 to P8. Max from P13 to P5 is actually poor for his standards. Poor chair went from P14 to P6, and there was a massive pile up and a red flag. So I don't know how poor chair's managed to drop further back than he started, but he somehow manages it, poor chair. He was P12 after the sprint in Baku, had a full-on grid penalty, and then came back to P12. So you never know, maybe he could have got points, but, you know, poor chair's been a bit poor. I don't know if we're going to replace him, or if we're going to try stick with him for a long term for once with one of these F2 drivers, but we'll just have to wait and see. It'll be up to me what we do. So yeah, I mean, after that pretty successful race, there's not really much else to say. I think the next race is Imola, I'd like to say. But that is all for this episode. It's been a pretty successful one. Solid race result. A sign of some pace this weekend, which is pretty good. I'm thinking about, if Imola goes well, bumping up the AI to 90 from here on in, which means we're only 5 AI behind what we were in last game. My aim by the end of this game would be maybe 105 AI on controller. I'd be pretty happy with that. So yeah, there's no point in me rambling on anymore. Pretty happy with that. Next episode is Imola, as I said. You'll see the upgrades if we manage to put any on before that race. You'll see them. And yeah, Imola's no longer a sprint, which I think is a bit of a mistake, but it is what it is. I can't control it. I'm just looking forward to racing around Imola once again. It's going to be pretty exciting, you know. So just stay tuned for that, and I'll see you all next time.